In the headlines, 76 kidnapped victims freed in Katsina without ransom. Troops kill 9 Boko Haram fighters, including 2 commanders in Borno. NDLEA arrests widow for alleged cocaine trafficking with fake pregnancy. And on the foreign scene, UN calls for justice as Rohingya suffer continued abuses in Myanmar. Hello, good evening, and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. And now the news in full. Katsina State government says it has no intention to chart a peace deal with criminal elements terrorizing the state, but cannot discourage communities from having negotiations with bandits. The Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs stated this at a press briefing held on the release of kidnapped victims from Ungwar Mantau community in Malumfashi local government area of Katsina State. In Katsina, Abdullahi Yamadi tells us more.
While sympathizing with survivors of the Tuesday's Ngormontau attack, the commissioner said government remains committed to ending insecurity in the state.
We have deployed security agencies in various posts and positions to deal with insecurity in all the areas affected. You have deployment in Bazari, you have deployment in Jibia, you have deployment in Namusa, you have deployment in Kankara, you have deployment in all the local governments that are affected by banditry. Government has done a lot and is doing. So now what is remain is for our people to see the need for them to participate in this fight against banditry.
However, contrary to earlier reports that the 76 kidnapped victims of Ngormontau community attack were rescued following military onslaught on Barbaros camp, the victims said they were willingly released by the bandits unconditionally. The freed victims said the bandits kingpin Barbaru informed them that the decision to release them was born out of humanity without any pressure or ransom payment from any quarter. Some residents of Malumfashi, Faskari, Funtua, and Bakori suggested a comprehensive and coordinated onslaught on bandit strongholds and discouraged peace deals that pose dangers on other neighboring communities. They said in most cases, the bandits transfer aggression to the communities where peace deal did not hold, with primary motive of expanding territories. If you look carefully, there are hundreds of families from local communities roaming the streets, hanging around public spaces and begging for food. These are well-to-do people in their communities, but escalating banditry has forced them out, exposed them to so many dangers, and in most cases, breeding future criminals. The fight against banditry is meant to be holistic, well coordinated, and with precision, not just a deployment of security personnel, but they need to prevent attacks, respond to distress calls in good time, and work closely with communities to achieve success.
Let me tell you, nobody is safe in Nigeria. Nobody is safe in northern Nigeria. Nobody is safe in the northwest. Go to Zamfara, go to Kebbi, go to Sokoto, go to Katsina, here where we are. Nobody is living. Nobody. It is very unfortunate. My advice to the government, they should take serious on security matters. We don't need road, we don't need culvert, we don't need anything. What we need is to remain in peace, to sleep with 2 eyes closed.
At the moment, the freed victims have undergone medical checks at Kankara General Hospital and have since been reunited with their families. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now in other news, 6 people have been confirmed dead and 3 others missing remain missing after a boat mishap in Garinfaji, Sabon Birni local government area of Sokoto State, as residents fled an attack by suspected bandits. The incident, which occurred around 5:30 a.m. on Thursday, comes less than a week after a similar accident in Goronyo local government area that claimed 4 lives. Officials said the victims were among villagers hiding in nearby bushes to avoid raids, but panic set in when bandits advanced, forcing them into an overcrowded canoe that capsized midstream. 19 people were rescued, while a joint team of SEMA, NEMA, NIWA, and the Red Cross has launched search and rescue operations and is preparing a report with measures to prevent future occurrences. The tragedy highlights the worsening humanitarian crisis in Sokoto, where persistent insecurity has displaced many communities. The Nasarawa State Police Command has arrested several notorious kidnap and armed robbery suspects. Operatives from the Doma Division captured Muhammad Bami, aka Zomo, responsible for multiple abductions in Doma local government area. He was apprehended during a clearance operation in Doka Forest after attacking officers. Police also recovered a pump-action rifle, a locally made AK-47 ammunition, a knife, a rope, 2 phones, and NSCDC uniforms from his hideout. Separately, 5 members of a suspected kidnapping syndicate were arrested in Gidantaku, Awe local government area. The suspect allegedly kidnapped Blessing John and her husband, collecting ransom for both. 2 AK-47 rifles and ammunition were seized. The Commissioner of Police praised the officers and urged continued action until Nasarawa is free of kidnappers. All suspects have been handed to the anti-kidnapping unit for investigation and prosecution. Troops of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadenkai, backed by the air component, have killed 9 Boko Haram fighters, including 2 top commanders, during operations in Benue State. The operations carried out between August 21st and 22nd in Bita and Wulgo foiled planned terrorist attacks in the area. The slain commanders were identified as Abu Nazir Munsir of Juye and Abu Fatima Munsir of Koloram. Recovered items included AK-47 rifles, a cache of ammunition, and 6 motorcycles used by the insurgents. Military authorities praised the troops for the operational success and urged them to sustain pressure in the ongoing counter-insurgency campaign. Now, the body of Vigilante Uche Ejiofor, missing after a clash with Fulani herdsmen in Amakohia Ubi, Owerri West local government area, has been found. Sources say his body was discovered in a bush riddled with bullets, suggesting he was shot at close range. Ejiofor had gone missing after a confrontation aimed at stopping herdsmen from moving cattle into the community farmland. While another vigilante, Monday Nwa Ozuzu, was found the same day, Ejiofor's disappearance sparked fears of abduction before the fatal discovery. Many residents who fled to nearby communities remain hesitant to return. A widow said she would only go back when it is safe, stressing that life is precious. Now, in a major breakthrough against transnational organized crime, the Nigeria police force has successfully repatriated a high-profile Chinese fugitive, Dai Qisheng, to the People's Republic of China. The operation, coordinated through the Interpol National Center Bureau and Central Bureau NCB Abuja, was executed in collaboration with Interpol, NCB Beijing, and the Chinese Embassy in Nigeria, marking a milestone in international policing cooperation. Dai, a notorious gang leader wanted for orchestrating violent organized crimes in Guizhou province, fled China in 2024 after an arrest warrant was issued by the Public Security Bureau of Jijin County. He had been on the run until Interpol operatives in Nigeria tracked and arrested him in Abuja on August 8, 2025. Following his arrest, the fugitive was repatriated to Beijing on August 15, 2025, under a police-to-police cooperation framework facilitated by Interpol. In other news, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to declare a state of emergency in Katsina and Zamfara following violent attacks that have claimed over 140 lives in 2 months. In a statement, ADC National Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi condemned massacres in Malumfashi, Katsina, where 30 worshippers were killed in a mosque and 20 villagers burned alive, and in Zamfara, where 47 people were killed, including 38 despite ransom payments. The party criticized the federal government for focusing on international engagement, while insecurity worsens, and rebuked PDP governors for holding political rallies shortly after the killings. The ADC demanded a complete overhaul of Nigeria's security architecture, noting that the Chief of Defense Staff's advice for citizens to arm themselves highlights systemic failures. It accused both APC and PDP of prioritizing politics over citizens' welfare. Now, ahead of the November 8 Anambra governorship election, the National Peace Committee, NPC, led by former head of state General Abdulsalami Abubakar, retired, has identified key areas likely to pose security challenges. Through the Kuka Center, the NPC highlighted 7 local government areas: Oka South, Oka North, Ihiala, Newi South, Edemili North, Orumba South, and Ayemelum, citing risks from separatist activity, kidnapping, cultism, and political thuggery. The findings were shared at an IDEA EU-sponsored forum across the state's 3 senatorial zones. Stakeholders, including electoral bodies, security agencies, political parties, traditional leaders, and civil society groups, discussed voter turnout, potential threats, and solutions to ensure credible elections. Traditional rulers stressed voter education and called on politicians to refrain from pressuring communities. Stakeholders pledged continued engagement to ensure a peaceful electoral process. The Speaker of the Benue State House of Assembly, Owandona Dajo, has resigned effective August 24, 2025, citing the best interest of the state. He pledged to continue representing Boko West State constituency. The resignation follows the suspension of 4 lawmakers, Alfred Berger, Tena Shimawa, Cyril Ekong, and James Omuro, for allegedly attempting to impeach him. Audu Elias has been appointed the new Assembly spokesperson. Governor Hyacinth Alia denied any involvement in the impeachment attempt, reaffirming his support for the Assembly. Earlier, the House confirmed 6 commissioners but rejected Timothy Arguga over petitions and credential concerns. This is News Update on Trust TV coming up ahead. NDLEA arrests widow for alleged cocaine trafficking with fake pregnancy. This and many more when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. In case you just joined in, this is News Update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. 76 kidnapped victims freed in Katsina without ransom. And troops kill 9 Boko Haram fighters, including 2 commanders in Borno. Now moving on to more stories, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested 50-year-old widow Ifeoma Ezewike for allegedly attempting to traffic 1.3 kilograms of cocaine. She reportedly used a fake pregnancy to avoid detection. Ezewike, the proprietress of Golden Star Creation in Ago Palace Way, Okota, Lagos, was apprehended at a bus terminal in Jibowu, Yaba on Friday, August 22nd, while attempting to deliver the cocaine to Abuja. A follow-up search of her home recovered 200 grams of a cocaine cutting agent. In her statement, Ezewike said she inherited the criminal trade from her late husband, who died 2 years ago, while she has been in the fashion business for 20 years. The agency also intercepted 48.6 kilograms of cannabis imported from the United States, concealed in kitchen sinks at a courier company in Lagos on August 19th. In Adamawa State, NDLA operatives raided the home of notorious drug dealer Idris Garba on August 22nd. Garba escaped, but his associate Boniface Naji was caught transporting 354,480 tramadol pills. Other operations saw 5,000 tramadol capsules, 400 pentazocine ampoules, and 200 diazepam ampoules seized in Kogi State. In Taraba, Edo, Delta, and Ondo States, a combined total of 64,758 kilograms of skunk was destroyed across multiple plantations, with several suspects arrested. The Bayelsa state government has issued a warning over the increasing circulation of fake drugs, beverages, cosmetics, and other hazardous products in local markets. Officials link the trend to rising cases of liver, kidney, and lung diseases across the state. Speaking at a press briefing in Yenagoa, Commissioner for Information, Orientation and Strategy described the situation as a serious emergency requiring immediate action from both the government and the public. The government has launched a multi-agency crackdown involving the Ministries of Environment, Health, Trade and Investment, and Environmental Sanitation Authority, and the Consumer Protection Unit. Some offenders have been arrested, prosecuted, and confiscated products are being destroyed to safeguard public health. And now in business, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAAN, has resumed direct revenue collection at the cargo terminals of Murtala Muhammad International Airport, MMIA, Lagos, ending a 15-year break. Officials from the Directorate of Cargo Development and Services have been deployed to the cargo release point of the Nigerian Aviation Handling Company, NARCO, and Skyway Aviation Handling Company warehouses to oversee real-time collection of accrued cargo charges. FAAN said the initiative is already plugging revenue leakages and improving accountability across the air cargo value chain. The move was carried out in collaboration with the PTC Customs Area Command. The development is described as a major step in FAAN's drive to boost operational efficiency, ensure transparency, and strengthen interagency collaboration in the aviation sector. The authority said the breakthrough of MMIA is expected to be replicated at other airports nationwide to optimize cargo operations and create new revenue streams for the industry. And now away from Nigeria, 8 years after the Rohingya were forced from Myanmar's Rakhine state, the UN says their situation has deteriorated. Over 1 million Rohingyas fled to Bangladesh after a 2017 military offensive described by UN investigators as, quote, ethnic cleansing. The UN human rights officer condemned ongoing atrocities by both the Myanmar military and the Arakan army, highlighting impunity and violations of international law. Escalating conflict since late 2023 has driven further displacement. Funding for camps is critically low. The UNHCR says $256 million is needed this year, but only 38% has been committed. The UN urges the International Committee to step up humanitarian support and back accountability efforts to secure lasting solutions. A Ukrainian drone attack has triggered a short-lived fire at the Kursk nuclear power plant in western Russia on Sunday, raising concerns over the safety of critical energy infrastructure in the region. Russian air defense systems intercepted the drone, but the detonation caused damage to an auxiliary transformer, forcing a temporary reduction in the plant's capacity. Emergency crews quickly contained the blaze, and radiation monitoring teams reported that levels around the facility remained within normal limits. The incident highlights the growing risks posed by drone warfare to civilian and energy infrastructure. In recent months, Russia has reported several attempts by Ukrainian forces to target power plants, oil depots, and military sites deep inside its territory. And now in sports, AC Milan has officially decided not to proceed with the signing of Nigerian striker Victor Boniface after medical concerns arose during his assessment in Italy. According to Belgian journalist Sacha Tavolieri, the transfer, previously agreed in principle with Bayer Leverkusen, was structured as a £5 million loan with an option to buy for £24 million. After 48 hours of medical evaluations in Milan, Boniface has now returned to Germany, marking another setback for the forward. Earlier this year, he narrowly missed a move to Al Nassr, which opted to sign John Duran instead. AC Milan are now exploring alternative options to strengthen their attack. And that's a wrap on News Update. Do well to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news, and documentaries. My name is Dorcas Yakubuzala. Thanks for watching.